What if spending 10 minutes this week on your super could do more for your future than 10 years of working harder? Hi, I'm Emma Sutherland, clinical naturopath, author, mum, and your host. As a naturopath, I see firsthand how financial stress can take a real toll on our physical and emotional well-being. That's why in this special series, we're exploring the powerful connection between financial health and whole body health, because true wellness involves your bank account as well. So if you want to improve your financial health, watch all the way to the end. Retirement. For many, it's the dream: more time, more freedom, more peace of mind. But how ready are Australians for that phase of their life? And how much dissonance is there between what we expect our retirements to be like and what we realistically find when we get there? Vanguard recently released their third annual How Australia Retires report. This was based on a national survey of over 1,800 Australians conducted in February 2025. The report examines financial and retirement literacy, the expectations versus the realities of retirement, and the role of housing and the overall retirement sentiment and confidence. So over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the key findings and share 5 steps you can take to improve your super and retirement outcome. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, and this episode isn't personal financial advice. It's designed to help you understand the research so you can make more informed choices about your super and your retirement. So some key insights for me from this survey was that less than 52% of Australians actually plan for their retirement. That's a crazy amount of people not thinking about their retirement. Australians have quite a low level of financial literacy compared to other countries, with a shocking 52% of 18 to 24-year-olds having low financial literacy. We need to be having financial conversations with our kids. Only 40% of Australians know that they can access their super from the age of 60. And 1 in 3 millennials still expect to have a mortgage when they retire. Now, currently, only 8% of retirees have a mortgage. There is so much wrong with this picture, but what is evident is that people who have a mortgage at retirement also report low confidence around retirement. The current modelling used by policymakers is that when you retire, they expect you to have a home that's already paid off. But this modelling has to change because, sadly, the fact is that this is not the norm anymore. The housing crisis is real, especially for young kids. Now, first, let's look at how Australians said they felt about their retirement. Among those that are already retired, about 65% said that they felt positive about it. So if you inverse this, that means 35% of retirees are not feeling positive about their situation. Yet for working age Aussies, so people like me, that number is just 43% who feel confident about their retirement. And that reveals a very strong emotional divide. We really want to be having a confidence and a positivity about our retirement. Many people anticipate that they need more than retirees currently spend. So, for example, young Australians now estimate that they will need $106,000 a year in retirement, which is up significantly from prior expectations. Current retirees often report spending something closer to $55,000 a year. So right away, we see the gap between expectation and reality, and between the confidence of retirees versus those who are yet to retire. My guess is that current retirees own their homes outright, so they can afford to spend less. People still working are expecting to have higher housing costs. They may still be paying off a mortgage. They may still be renting when they retire. So they're going to need more money to pay for those housing costs. So where does super fit into the retirement picture? Over half, it's around 54% of working age people say that super makes up half or less of their total investment portfolio. So many people are expecting to rely on property or direct investments or savings to fill in that gap. Current retirees tend to lean more heavily on their super and the age pension. Notably, many working Australians don't make extra contributions to their super beyond what is the compulsory guarantee. So this suggests that while people seem to value super, they really want it, many aren't leveraging it either because of lack of knowledge or competing priorities. They've got school fees to pay. They've got other financial commitments, meaning that they're not adding to their super. One of the clearest patterns is that those who plan their retirement and engage in it feel more confident about retirement. People who have a detailed retirement plan or even just a roadmap tend to have much higher confidence in the survey data. In contrast, those who haven't accessed advice or haven't even interacted with their super fund often say they feel disconnected and uncertain about retirement. Yet, financial literacy is very uneven. Many Australians struggle with key concepts or the rules associated with their super fund. So the action point is engaging, checking your fund, understanding the fees, thinking about how your life might change seems to matter as how much money that you have. So engage with your super fund. Many super funds have incredible resources, incredible education available to their members. And we know that retirement isn't what it used to be. The journey is becoming way more flexible, for better or for worse. Many Australians now expect to take career breaks or periods of further education or that phased or glide style of retirement instead of just that full stop. I'm working and then I'm not. Younger people increasingly assume that they are still going to retire carrying debt or be renters rather than homeowners. Meanwhile, current retirees, only 8% carry mortgages, highlighting a very rapid shift in housing dynamics. These evolving patterns really make retirement modelling more complex. So it's no longer just about save until 65 and then stop. And beyond those individual choices, there's some system constraints to watch for. Many super funds are using broad assumptions when projecting retirement income or advising you how much money you're going to need. And the key example here is renting versus owning. They expect that your housing costs are going to be very, very minimal in retirement because you'll have owned your own home and paid it off, when that is just not the reality coming up for younger people. And the advice gap is real. Quality tailored advice or financial advice is very costly in Australia and very inaccessible for many Australians. So all of this means that even a good super balance might not translate into that comfortable retirement that you would hope for. Daniel Shremsky, Managing Director of Vanguard Australia, suggests 5 actionable steps you can use as a blueprint to maximise your super. And I have to say, I agree with him on all these points. The first is engage with your super. Don't treat it as an out of sight, out of mind. As I said, check the fees, check their performance, look at the default fund settings, and whether your fund's investment mix is still suitable for your life stage. You may want to take a more aggressive approach with your investment. The difference between the fees of a low-cost fund and an average cost fund can be about 0.5%. And for the average worker, that could amount to over $100K at retirement age. Isn't that mind-blowing? So check the fees. You want to be using a low-cost fund for your superannuation. I would also recommend that you make additional contributions. Even modest extra contributions can help, like a salary sacrifice if your employer offers it, or after-tax top-ups. $100 here or there can compound over the decades. You also get that tax break. Your voluntary contributions are taxed at only 15%, much less than your income tax of around 30%. So you get the tax breaks and you get the compounding if you add little bits to your super along the way. The next tip is to get or update a retirement plan. Now, you don't need a super technical document, even just a roadmap that reflects your goals, when you think you'd like to retire, and then your risk tolerance. Are you an aggressive investor? Are you a conservative investor? All of those things can help form your retirement plan. And then you want to seek advice or just use better tools. So, if possible, get guidance tuned to your personal circumstances. Often, with many super funds, you can call them up and talk to a financial advisor, or use digital tools or calculators that integrate your actual finances rather than those generic assumptions. You want to be running the numbers based on your actual numbers and not what your super fund or government have told you will need. Then mind your retirement risk. Be aware of debt, of the rising cost of living, longevity. You may live a lot longer than you expect, market volatility, and inflation also eroding your purchasing power. So let's wrap it up and bring it home. What does all this mean for the average Australian listening or watching right now? First of all, if you are working now, don't push retirement planning into the distant future. The earlier you're engaged, the more leeway you have and the more confidence you will have. Even small changes like checking your fund, shifting to a better default, making extra contributions, moving to that low-cost fund can meaningfully affect outcome over decades. Up to 100K on just changing to a lower-cost fund is the best example. Next, recognize that your life may not follow clean assumptions. Career breaks, housing changes, family obligations can happen. So build buffers and flexibilities into your plan. Then use tools, calculators, or advisors that account for your particular circumstances. Don't rely on generic rules. I will link a couple of these in the show notes below. Finally, mindset matters. Knowing where things currently are and also how far you may need to go is half the battle. People that are the most confident about retirement are those that took action and did something. They didn't just hope for it. So Vanguard's How Australia Retires research gives us clear mirror. Many Australians expect big, yet many feel underprepared. But the path forward is not about magic or luck. It's about engagement, consistency, and planning. So if you found this video useful, hit like, subscribe, share this with somebody who should be starting to think about their super, and I'll see you again soon.